If you're not familiar with the endless persecution of non-Muslims in places like Pakistan and Egypt and Iraq, either you've spent the past few decades living in a snow fort in Antarctica, or you're a radical leftist screwball who's so busy admiring your own virtue in the mirror that you just can't find the time to pay any attention to people who are actually suffering. Let's take a quick look at Islamic terror in the news over the past week. Mali. A branch of al-Qaeda in northwestern Africa claimed responsibility for an attack on a United Nations base in Mali that killed 10 Chadian peacekeepers on Sunday, saying it was in response to Chad's resumption of diplomatic relations with Israel. In a statement, the United Nations mission in Mali said that a peacekeeping base had come under attack in the northeastern village of Aguelhok. The village is in one of the most troubled regions of the country, which has repeatedly been in the crosshairs of a jihadist insurgency. Al-Qaeda jihadis attack UN peacekeepers because a country has diplomatic relations with Israel. Welcome to Islam's moral compass, where the needle always points to terrorism. Pakistan. There are nearly 200 cases of Christians in Pakistan charged with blasphemy, the controversial law made famous by Asia Bibi. Father James Channon, director of the Peace Center in Lahore, which promotes interfaith relations, said research by the Catholic Church has revealed 187 live cases of Christians charged with blasphemy, which in Pakistan can carry sentences of life imprisonment or death. Added to this figure is the case of Asia Bibi, whose death penalty conviction for blasphemy was overturned last October by Pakistan's Supreme Court, a decision which created headlines around the world. Speaking in an interview with Aid to the Church in Need, Father Channon said, "Even now, after her acquittal, she is anything but safe. Radical Islamists are trying to find her so they can kill her. That is why she is currently under state protection." In Pakistan, if you criticize Sharia, you'll be charged with blasphemy and sentenced to death. In the West, if you criticize Sharia, you'll be accused of racism and sentenced to ridicule. Seems like Islam always finds a way to avoid criticism. Nigeria. A Christian denomination based mostly in the Northeast, the Church of the Brethren in Nigeria, otherwise known in Hausa language as Ecclesiar Yanuwa Nigeria, EYN, has appealed to the federal government to rebuild its church branches razed by Boko Haram insurgents. The EYN says Boko Haram has destroyed a total of 1,125 of its church buildings and other structures over the years of insurgency. These include its headquarters office complex, which has been rebuilt, a church auditorium, which is yet to be fully reconstructed, and an adjacent pastor's residential quarters, where reconstruction's work is yet to start. Never forget, if you smirk while someone beats a drum in your face, you're a despicable monster who deserves violence. But if you burn down more than 1,000 churches, you're a misunderstood victim whose ideology is beyond criticism. The Philippines. The southern Philippines city of Jolo is on lockdown after a deadly double bombing Sunday, as the authorities try to ensure security and investigate the attack that killed at least 20. The bombing, which was claimed by ISIS, has raised fears of an increase in separatist violence in the country's restive Mindanao region, following a referendum last week in which an overwhelming majority of voters backed self-rule. Bombs exploded at the Jolo Catholic Cathedral during Sunday Mass, officials said, killing 20 and injuring at least 81 people, including 14 soldiers and 2 police officers. The first device went off inside the cathedral, and the second targeted nearby soldiers who rushed to help the victims of the first explosion, a military spokesman said. So, if you don't like the way a referendum goes, you blow up a church. More timeless wisdom from the religion of peace, tolerance, equality, and feminism. The United States. 3 men from Lansing, Michigan were arrested for allegedly supporting ISIS, with one of them taken into custody as he prepared to fly to Somalia, authorities said Tuesday. Musa Abdikadir Musa, 23, his brother Muhammad Abdikadir Musa, 20, and another relative, 26-year-old Muhammad Salat Haji, were all charged with conspiring to provide material support to a terrorist organization, prosecutors said. Agents arrested Musa at Gerald R. Ford Airport in Grand Rapids on Monday, where he was about to take a series of flights that would have eventually landed him in Mogadishu, Somalia, according to a federal complaint. Mohammed Musa and Haji were arrested hours later. The 3 defendants had all pledged allegiance to ISIS through videos they recorded themselves, according to a statement by the Department of Justice. Think about this. These young Muslims had their entire lives ahead of them. They could have worked and worshipped and raised kids in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Instead, they were willing to risk everything to join ISIS. Why? Well, as long as we ignore everything that Muhammad said and did, jihad will remain a perpetual mystery. Muslims in Nigeria and Mali and Pakistan and the Philippines and the United States conclude that they're supposed to terrorize unbelievers because they've all coincidentally misunderstood their religion in exactly the same way. Of course, I should point out that there's really no difference, practically speaking, between, on the one hand, a religion that actually calls for the violent subjugation of the entire world, and on the other hand, a religion whose followers misunderstand it so much that they go out and try to violently subjugate the entire world. Either way, you and your family and your friends and your civilization are targeted for terror. If you're satisfied with everyone you know being targeted for terror, by all means, pay no attention to the words of Allah and Muhammad. But if you'd like to be part of the resistance, click that subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications, and don't leave without watching a video that explains what Islam's most trusted sources say about terrorizing unbelievers. In the comments section, let me know about any recent examples of Islamic terror that I missed.